afternoon, Jack. How are you today?
I'm very good, Liz. How are you today?
I think we're all going to make it, believe it or not. Yes, indeedy do.
Good.
Well, what I think one of the most exciting things is the fact that we are here, many of us, for the California 50th anniversary ESGR calls. I find that doing these calls, I've learned so much from people that I've talked to that I get as much as you will be producing on this call. And you've been with ESGR longer than a long time, almost since the beginning.
Yeah, well, no, it started back in the early 70s. I've only been around for 36 years.
Only 36 years. Oh my goodness gracious. That's fabulous. I really appreciate your time and energy and all that you do. And as I said, I'm going to learn from this call as much as you will be able to present information. So would you please tell me what brought you to ESGR? You said you've been a 36-year volunteer. Why have you remained with the organization? What brought you here?
Okay, well, what brought me here was that back in the old 1980s, if you can think back that far, I was living in Fresno, California, and I was, at the time, I happened to be the president of the Military Affairs Committee for the Chamber of Commerce here in Fresno. And one of the ladies on the committee was a lady by the name of Dixie Sue Cooper, who happened to be the regional director for ESGR.
Aha.
And her and I got talking about military and what her organization was doing. And the more she told me about what they were doing, the more interesting it sounded. And so she said, well, look, why don't you come and go to one of our meetings, see what we do, learn about us a little more. And I said, I'd like to. It sounds interesting. Since I was a member of the Guard, and I have, again, almost as much time in the ESGR as I did in military time, both active and reserves. I thought, let me find out about this organization. So I went to the meeting, found out the reason for ESGR, when it started in 1971 or 73, I guess, after they dropped the draft and started all volunteer, that they were depending more and more on the reservists to fill active duty billets. And so they were starting to have a little bit of a problem with employers. And since I had, like I say, had served with a lot of Guard people, my civilian employment in law enforcement, I was really lucky. My employer made all kinds of arrangements, let me reschedule my work schedule and everything around my attending, so I didn't have a problem. But I noticed more and more reservists were having that problem. And so I figured, since I'm on the inside, maybe I can help the reservists, because I can give them the information that they need. Now, this is back before the USERRA Act was passed. So we were dealing mainly with the Department of Labor, California Department of Labor, and the Federal Department of Labor. And it was just basically through the Chamber of Commerce, we were able to, touch employers and sit down on a one-to-one with an employer and say, hey, listen, if you have a Guard or a reserve person who is employed by you, you've got quite an employee. Because not only are they dedicated to their civilian jobs working for you, they are also devoted to serving their country. And anybody that can do two jobs and enjoy doing both jobs, it's got to be a great employee. And so working with that, just time seemed to just go by. And, I just kept getting more and more involved. I ended up being Miss Cooper asked me if I would be her public relations officer in her area. And I said, yes, sure. I help her with that. So that was really my first position in ESGR, was doing public relations for her area, not for ESGR as a whole in California, but just for the Central Valley area, Fresno area.
Well, it gave you a chance to learn about it and a chance to practice it out. And it sounds like an excellent position for you and for your regional in ESGR. Yes, I do know Fresno does a wonderful thing for veterans, et cetera. We've had a couple of meetings down there. They're really great.
Yes.
My next question into you, what are you doing now as a ESGR volunteer?
Nothing. I don't like ESGR.
Cute, very cute, very cute.
Yes.
I'll ask that again.
Yes.
So
Right now, with all the reorganization and everything, after I put in my time, my 36 years and everything, let me touch what you're asking a little different way.
Sure.
Over my 36 years, I've been an ombudsman, a Mission 1 representative, the state director of training, a area chair, and a regional chair. Plus, I've served on the executive committee having to do with the selection of incoming state chairs, interviewing them and sitting on their selection board. So those are the things I've done position-wise. Since I left the position of Area 3 regional chair, I've kind of just pulled back and let some younger people and some newer people get in there and get some leadership ability training and take over. And I'm now basically a mentor for new people that are coming in.
Jack, that is not a minor activity.
Mentoring,
mentoring our future people and mentoring and teaching. You provide guidance to me, you provide guidance to the other members. That I can't tell you how important that is, because we don't have the history, and we need your history. We need your guidance.
Yeah. Like I say, for me, it's been just, it's my way of giving back to, not only to the people that are serving on active duty, but to my country and, and to my neighbors.
That's really important.
That's, to me, that's the important part, is it's doing it because you want to do it to give back and provide incentive to other people to serve their community.
That's fabulous. Now, my last question for today is, could you please describe 3 of your most favorite moments as a volunteer for ESGR? 3 times that you really remember.
Well, I got talking to my wife about that the other day.
Good.
Things that I remember that really stand out. And that is, the very first one that comes to me is a young man who is an airman with the California Air National Guard here in Fresno. I won't go into any names or any of that.
Please don't.
Yeah, was having a problem with his employer. He had been called out to active duty because of the 9/11 tragedy and everything that went on with that. He was called up to active duty, served, I think, about an 18-month tour because he was in the reserves, and came back and found out his employer basically said, "We don't really care about you, Sarah. We don't care, about any of that. You were gone too long, and our business required, since you were in the leadership position, we needed somebody to take over. And so we've hired somebody." And at the same time, they actually told him one of the other reasons was because he was costing him too much money because of his salary.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. I immediately started functioning my role as an ombudsman to get the matter brought to the right people and everything. And after all the problems he had gone through, and he was being treated very rudely and very, just dismissively by his employer. But he kept trying and trying to, get back to go. He wanted to go back to the same job, the same position. And so finally working with them, not only did we get him his position back through ESGR, he got his back pay.
Oh, wow.
Which was a large amount of money and everything. And because of the turmoil that it caused in the area where he lived because of his position, not only did he end up getting his position back with this company. And his back pay, another company, a larger company doing exactly the same type of work, hired him.
That's pretty good.
Said, if they don't want you, we do. We want your experience. So that's number one. Number two was a young man who worked for the Fresno Police Department. And he was excited to be, he'd always wanted to be a police officer. He was excited to be a police officer. And he was going through training to be a police officer. And he was still on his probationary period when he got called up again to active duty because of 9/11. And he told his employer, he said, I've been called to active duty and, I've got to go. It's, that's the rule type of thing. And his employer, the police department, said, not a problem. You go ahead and take off. We'll pay you half your salary. We'll make up the difference, basically, with your salary while you're gone for what you make in here at the sheriff or at the police department and your military salary. And when you get back, you'll be, just go on. Well, at the time he went on active duty, he was 2 days short of ending his probationary period. When he came back, the city payroll or the city personnel department said, I'm sorry, but you didn't finish your probationary period. So you've got two choices. You can either go someplace else and find a job, or you can start as a basic brand new applicant and apply here and go through the probationary period of time. Well, we took what they had said to the police department, talked with the chief of police and his captain and everything, and they said, well, that's silly. The fact that he was going to come off probation in the end of the 2 days. It's just unfortunate that 2 days prior to his ending of his probationary period, he was on active duty. And so we were able to not only get him his job secured, but because of the hassle and everything, the police department said, we'll not only take you back as a full-time employee, but we'll give you credit for the time that you served on active duty as part of your employment active duty time. And we'll raise your pay to a higher level. And because of the time that you've now served with the police department, you can go to the motor school, which is what he really wanted to do. And he is now one of the top sergeants of the
That's great.
motor squad. So, and the other, really great moments, if there is a great moment, really great moment, was the 36 years, I met some very, very interesting, very enlightened, very intelligent people and very dedicated people. I could name all kinds of names of people that I've served with in ESGR that are not only former workmates, but friends.
That's
friends
great.
for life, because they shared the same passion that I shared, and they put in, the time and everything. And so, for, things that I've really enjoyed, it's just, doing boss lists, doing dine-ins, boss breakfast with the boss, lunch with the boss, getting to know employers and taking them and showing them what their reservists are actually doing when they're away from their civilian employment. So I guess that would fill that bill.
That's fantastic. Your experience, your desire, your heart for the organization is very important. But again, because you are still with us and mentoring others, that is the real legacy that you will have. And we are grateful for you to be here with us. And we appreciate that very much. I thank you for your time and energy today. And happy 50th anniversary for California ESGR and 36 for you. Thank you, Jack.
Liz.
You be well.
You too. Thank you, dear. Goodbye.
Take care. Bye-bye.